Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to do something different in this video. You can see I'm out in the shop right now. And normally I'm trying to show you, in my opinion, the latest and greatest tool out there, for a good value. But today we're going to get back to basics. You can see I have kind of an old looking kit here. We're going to go over the most essential basic hand tools that a homeowner needs, or, an average DIYer. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so here's my list of tools for basic repairs around the house. It should be stuff that just about anybody can use, and it'll help you to gain some proficiency, and you can learn some different techniques using these tools. But these are basically universal. Any video you see on YouTube, it's probably going to be the same tools, but I did sit down and think about what would be my recommendations for a basic homeowner or DIY kit. The first thing you can see is I have all the tools in a tote, and this is really important to me. I had to carry some of these tools out to the garage, and it was kind of awkward. I was juggling stuff, and thankfully I only had to bring a few things. But what if you had a repair that was on the other end of your house, or maybe a different corner of your property that you had to make? Having everything in a tool tote, even just a basic simple one, is really handy. This old Craftsman one has a few features. Has a tape measure slot on the side, and it has some internal slots. Obviously, tool storage has come a long way since then. The first thing that's sticking out here is your claw hammer. This is more of a carpenter or trim style claw hammer because it has the curved head, which is better for pulling nails. It gives you more leverage like this. Universal tool, probably one of the oldest tools known to man. This is an old, and you can tell the age of this one, an S-Twing. Even fiberglass or wood handle hammer would be fine, but I do know that these will stand the test of time. This one's probably been in my family for 30 years. To go along with that, dig it out here. I also recommend, at the very least, a small trim pry bar. This is just an old Dasco one. I've used it a lot. You can use the, breaker style bars. I have a bunch of Stanley ones. I just didn't have any in here handy. But this doesn't take up much weight in your pack, and it allows you to precisely get behind trim, pull it away from the wall in case you need to access something, or you're repairing some trim or replacing whatever. These two tools go hand in hand. What else do we have in here? Let's see. One of the most basic tools I'd recommend for a homeowner to have is either a set of screwdrivers, with your number 2 Phillips, your number 1 Phillips, 3/16 quarter, maybe even 5/16 flat, or flathead screwdriver. But if you carry around either a 9-in-1, I think this is an old 6-in-1. It's missing some of the bits. I just keep it out here in the garage. A 9-in-1, or maybe it is a 9-in-1, 11-in-1 screwdriver. That's going to cover a lot of your basic tasks. And everybody knows how to use a screwdriver. It just comes naturally. Might also be good to have kind of a beater chisel driver or demo driver in your bag. A lot of old electricians still use the Klein, let's see, I can show it, the 600-4, kind of an industry standard. Doesn't have the striking cap on the back, but you can see this one's seen some abuse. All these tools that I'm going to show in this video are going to be pretty heavily used. So that covers your screw driving tasks. Take that out to the side. The next thing that's sticking outside on the bag, I tried to narrow down the most essential pliers that you would need around the house. The first one, and probably the one I grabbed the most, is needle nose pliers with cutters. That's important. These gear wrench ones happen to also have like a bolt grabbing portion. That's not as essential to me. You'll see why as we go through them here. But being able to get into tight access areas and then having the ability to cut wire, very important. And get a decent pair, that feel good in your hands. These are, I think, 8-inch, and that's a good size for my hands. Along with that, I also would recommend a good full-size pair of lineman's pliers. You might think, well, that's for a specialized trade. That's, that's the electrician's hammer, basically. But if you need to be able to cut heavy wire, screws, even fencing, bending and twisting fencing, and of course hammering in, staples and things like that if you need to, this is going to be an essential tool, and nothing can replace a 9-inch pair of lineman's pliers. You can see these have been pretty beat up. All this stuff stays out in the garage, and I use it for different type of work. And then the next to that would be a pair of channel locks, tongue and groove pliers. Get a good full-size pair, or if it's cheap enough, I know Channel Lock sells some kits that come in different sizes that are pretty good value. Another universal tool, and look at the size that allows you to grab. Pull this off. I think this is just a 10-inch pair, and if you hold them parallel, you're talking over 2 inches of grabbing force there. There's not much that you can't grab with these. Yeah, this particular design has been around for a long time. There are better designs out there. I'll be the first to say that. But once you've gotten used to using these, it just comes as second nature. An even older design is your standard trusty crescent wrench or adjustable wrench. Instead of carrying around a full set of, open end wrenches with you, you can stick this on there and get it pretty precise. And as long as you know how to use it and you follow the proper direction for turning, this isn't going to do you wrong. And in fact, I like using things like this on large bolts and nuts. It's just easier, and it comes, like I said, as second nature. Now, if you don't feel like fooling around with the tongue and groove pliers, you can see a lot of us have gotten used to just doing it with one hand. Another good option would be some of the cheaper push button adjustable pliers that are on the market. I've had these Irwin Vice Grip ones for years, and you can usually get them in like a 3-pack for a decent price. Not all of us need German-made precision Knipex Cobras. I've kept these in vehicle kits. I've used them in the garage and around the house, and they won't fail you, and they just make your life a little bit easier. Actually, one feature I like is that they can close with just a push of your finger instead of having to actuate the button there. Okay, so that covers a lot of the mechanical stuff. Let's say you saw on the outside of the bag, actually. Let's just talk about the standard Stanley Power Lock tape measure. My dad used these for most of his career. They're still around. You can still get them. You might have to search around because they've kind of gotten less popular. But just having a good tape measure, doesn't even have to be a 25-foot, could be a 16-foot, just for doing things inside the house. If you're wanting to do projects outside, maybe a 25-foot would be better for you. Or if you're going to be doing some renovations or planning for something, just a dependable tape measure, one you're comfortable with and one you like using. This is a classic design. I've moved away from this because I like some of the newer designs better. They're more convenient. In the same vein as measuring, just having a torpedo level with you for hanging pictures, putting up shelves, checking different things. It doesn't have to be a fancy electrician's level like this. This is just what I had in my bag. This has the magnetic base, which I do use a lot. Doesn't have to be the aluminum ones. It can be the plastic ones, just something from a dependable company. Can't go anywhere without having a tape measure and a level, and probably a pencil, which I didn't include in this. Another essential is your dad or your grandfather's utility knife. You can see this one's been pretty beat up. Like I said, probably been used 20, 30 years. They haven't changed much. There are some new designs out there. You can have the fastback knives that flick open. I love those. They're convenient. But if you're just talking about having a tool tote like this, nothing wrong with your standard, one-piece utility knife, especially if it has blade storage. That's one nice feature. Open it up here. Gives you blade storage. You don't have to go hunting for blades. And if you're going to be using a knife, you should be wearing some work gloves. I like thicker ones. You can use the nitrile gloves, like the coated gloves that wear out after a while, but just have some gloves with you. Not worth hurting yourself. If I had the option, if you wanted to get into more advanced stuff, one tool that I use all the time is a 5-in-1 painter's tool with a scraping blade. That's really important. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. I mean, what can't you use it for? You can use it as a putty knife if you need to, for spreading things. You can use it as a scraper. You can pry things with it. I like the ones that have like this metal cap on the back so you can strike them with a hammer like I do all the time. That would be, you know, if you were getting into maybe a little bit of renovation or repair or some painting, obviously you'd want that. And of course, things are going to come down to, you know, what task are you doing specifically? It would be important to have some kind of, you know, drill driver or impact driver. If it was me, I would just pick an impact driver. I'd just grab my son's little DeWalt here and have some impact rated drill bits and screw bits with it. I've done plenty of projects without having to have a regular drill driver, but if you're getting into more advanced stuff or precision, you're going to want to have a regular drill. And there's plenty of videos describing what's the difference, what would you use them for. Maybe you don't want to use an impact driver for everything, but if you're careful with them, you can get a lot of work done. So let me know in the comments, did I forget anything? Is there any other essential things? Did I go overboard? I know I have a tendency to do that, but I don't feel like you could really replace most of these essential tools in this kit. You might be able to kind of get away with doing, you know, some tasks differently, but this is just pretty basic in my opinion. I hope this is helpful for you guys. You know, I get a lot of questions asking, how should I make a small basic kit for myself with just hand tools, maybe an impact driver to complement that. And I feel like this should help you guys out. So yeah, I'd appreciate the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. We'll probably have some seasoned pros in the comments here now. And I'll catch you on the next video.